and thoughts on legal harmonization for models going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think referring back to my previous comments, the fundamental overlay needs to be an FMI, because the problem that we're trying to solve in DLT is legal finality of settlement, and that's something specific which is best achieved within an FMI. And also drilling into, again, the question of what is DLT actually good for. You know, what it's, just get by an analogy, imagine that you're trying to organize a dinner party with 10 people. Is it easier to organize that dinner party through email or through WhatsApp? It's easier to organize through WhatsApp, but why? Because everyone knows the current state. And in today's financial system, everyone doesn't know the current state, because in the world there are 20,000 institutions sending messages to each other essentially through secure email. So what we really want to get to is a place where banks and other financial, banks and non-banks can transact with each other and settle with each other with the state being unequivocal and unambiguous within a legal framework provided by an FMI. So the multi-currency FMI already exists. It's called CLS, Continuous Linked Settlement. It's not impossible for international organizations to get together to build that. But CLS is also a cautionary tale, because the stimulus for CLS was the collapse of Bankhaus Herstatt in 1974, and CLS was created in the early 2000s. So hopefully we can get consensus about building new settlement venues faster than we built CLS. And this is another, I think, key point, which is the technology is often leading in this conversation. The mousetrap is often leading. What really should be leading is a consensus about what kind of settlement venues we want to build. And that consensus needs to form as a public-private consensus. And then we can go on and build something new. And my last comment, I know we're running out of time, is my view is rebuilding existing silos with DLTs and then connecting them together is pointless. So DLT, the promise of DLT is about building more powerful, more general purpose settlement venues than we have today.
Thank you, Tony. I'm going to turn to Jordan really quickly for his thoughts on steps that are needed on the regulatory policy side to enable interoperability.
Yeah, so I'll just make two brief points. The first is I agree with much of what's already been suggested, that when we think about new ways of achieving interoperability, whether it's through the linkage model or the common platform model, many of the most difficult challenges are regulatory, legal, policy sorts of questions, and technology can help with these, but is unlikely to be a silver bullet by itself. The second point is that when we work on these issues, we're not starting from scratch. The concept of an FMI has come up repeatedly in this conversation. Fortunately, we already have the principles for financial market infrastructure. When it comes to other issues, areas where there are regulatory gaps or new standards that have to be developed, we have existing institutions that we can leverage to make progress. And these would include the G7, the G20, the Financial Stability Board, CPMI, FATF. And so surely there's much that needs to be done, but we do have venues in place that we can use to advance some of this work.
Thank you, Jordan. And I've asked the panel in our prep